Welcome into DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbook's daily betting live stream coming at you I guess I shouldn't call it daily anymore, but coming at you every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, breaking down all of the football action. Tonight, we're breaking down a terrible Thursday night football game. Tomorrow, we're breaking down a not great Friday slate of college football. But don't worry, it's getting us all prepared for what Saturday is bringing us and what Sunday is bringing us and even what Monday is bringing us. But first, we have to break down this terrible game that is Washington versus Chicago. We have our best bet for today's game that is provided to us from DRF Sports Pro data. We're also breaking down 3 player props that I think have a really good shot at hitting just based off of probability. And you got to love it. You got to lean into the probabilities when you're sports betting. But first, before we get into any of that, as always, a friendly reminder that you can sign up to drf.com/sports for free. All the latest betting angles, trends, and insights over there at drf.com/sports. Hit sign up for free up in the top right corner, and you'll get access to all of our free previews. And of course, follow us on DRF Sportsbook on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, anywhere that is social media. Follow us. You can find us at DRF Sportsbook there. And we'll be sharing all of our exclusive betting angles, trends, line movements, everything like that you can find on our social media at DRF Sportsbook. And we want to give you free money to boost your bankroll. DRF Cash Grab, tell us how.
Introducing the DRF Cash Grab app, the super easy, free-to-play sports predictor game from a name you know and trust, the Daily Racing Form. Use your sports knowledge to predict the winners, and you could score thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Pro football, college football, pro basketball, college basketball, hockey, soccer, boxing, baseball, and more. Compete against others for a spot on the monthly leaderboard. Download the DRF Cash Grab app and play today.
All right. With all that housekeeping stuff out of the way, let's dive right into today's Thursday night football game. I mentioned it before. It's the Commanders taking on the Bears. It's a pick'em game right now, and the total is set at 38. Washington comes into this one 1-4 against the spread and 1-4 straight up. They won their opening week game against the Lions, and they just have not looked good since. Bears, on the other hand, are 2-3. They won week 1 against the 49ers, but Justin Fields has been all over the place for the rest of the season. I don't know if they know what a forward pass is, but two teams that look very bad are facing off against each other, and one of them has to come out with a win. The rest of the NFC East looks like world beaters, and then there's the Washington Commanders just sitting there at the bottom of the division, looking terrible. Bears, kind of the same thing. Vikings look good, Packers look all right, and the Lions have hope. And then the Bears, they're just the Bears. But coming into this game, Washington has struggled in the first half of the season, and over the last 2 years, they've gone 2-11 against the spread in the first half of the season. And Ron Rivera, since he's become coach of Washington, he's 5-14 against the spread in the first half of the season. So not good numbers for the Commanders. And on the flip side, kind of good numbers for the Chicago Bears. If you look here, they have the edge tonight. According to our power line, Chicago is -6. However, our estimate gives the slight edge to Washington. That's saying the edge is on the over. Our estimate number 1 thinks Chicago wins this game. Our power line thinks Chicago wins this game by 6. This line is a pick'em. There's not a lot to really break down in this game. I don't think Washington is a good team. Carson Wentz is not that great of a quarterback. He ranks top 5 in total yards per game, and touchdowns. But he also just looks bad. He gets a lot of yards, and he makes a lot of timely and untimely and very costly mistakes with interceptions and fumbles. Chicago's the home team in this one. They have the edge. We've already talked about that. And at home over the last 3 seasons, they're 7-10 against the spread. But we can throw out that against the spread number and talk more so straight up, since this is a pick'em. They're 8-10 straight up over the last 3 seasons at home. And that's not a terrible number considering they're playing the NFC North. So they're playing the Vikings, they're playing the Packers, and they're playing the Lions each year. And each of those games, each of those teams aren't gimme wins. So Chicago not terrible at home at 8-10 straight up over the last 3 seasons. And over the last 3 seasons, they're 2-0. on Thursday night straight up. So they've played pretty well on Thursday Night Football. And Thursday Night Football, I think I'm going to call it the great equalizer because you both are coming into this one with hardly any rest. It's a weird game, and being home means a lot in this game for the Bears. And I think that's why -6 is kind of the way. If you want to alt spread it up, I wouldn't be upset at that at all, but I'm going Bears money line to win this game. Fields is he hasn't looked good. He's one of the worst in the league in terms of yards per game at just over 130 or something like that. Not good stuff from him at all. But if you look here on the stats, both of these teams are essentially mirror images of each other and what their offenses and defenses do. Very lackluster from top to bottom. Washington averages just 5.3 yards per play. Chicago just 5.5 yards per play. So very similar, just 0.2 yards off of a difference. And then their defenses both allow 5.8 yards per play. So I'm not sure if the defenses will make these offenses look better than they actually are. So it'll be really interesting to see that as we watch this game play out. The total, almost a little fishy how low it is. And that makes me want to be almost on the under. The under in Thursday Night Football is almost a fantastic bet. Chicago getting 62% of the public. The public is not a fan of Washington. At one point, the line did dip down to Chicago -1, Washington +1, but since then it's come back to a pick'em. 63% of the public is on the under, but we're over here. We're gonna have to ride with the public on tonight's game. All over Chicago money line, all over Chicago 0 pick'em. So just go money line on that one. I think Chicago, being the home team on Thursday Night Football, will prove to pay dividends against a bad Washington team. Ron Rivera's on the hot seat. Carson Wentz, who knows if he finishes the year? Maybe Taylor Heineke's better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz puts up a lot of numbers, but just has not been able to have that result in win so far this season. And that brings us right into our player prop number 1 that we will be highlighting. Carson Wentz, his over-under is set at 220.5 pass yards, which feels extremely low. He'll be without Jahan Dotson for the second week in a row, but that didn't seem to be a problem last week. He was pairing up with Diami Brown extremely well, had over 300 yards through the air last week. And he averages 278 pass yards per game, which is 5th in the NFL. The Bears defense allows 197 pass yards per game. So I think this is a happy medium where I think Carson Wentz will go over that 220.5 pass yards number. And I'm going to go over 220.5 pass yards all day, every day. He's done it in 3 of 5 games this season. In one of those other games, he was very, very close to eclipsing it. And in the 5th game, it just was not a good game at all. I don't think he even eclipsed 200 pass yards. But Carson Wentz, he averages more than this. This isn't a great pass defense. This is a defense, that allows 5.8 yards per play. They allow 6.9 yards per completion so far this season. Not a good look for the Bears. So Carson Wentz over 220.5 pass yards is almost the easiest bet of the day, and it's the one I feel the most confident about. And then moving on from that, we have Justin Fields. This seems really low, right? 168 pass yards. Over under. That seems just extremely low. But he's only gone over that, I think, twice this season. He's gone over that twice this season with a high of 208 pass yards this year. He's last in all quarterbacks in pass yards per game at 135.8 pass yards per game. And folks, that 0.8 matters when you only have 135 pass yards per game. Washington does allow 235 pass yards per game, and they allow 7.2 yards per completion. The weather's going to be fine tonight. I was trying to figure out a way, how can I get this to be over? But this is just so absurdly low. I have to go on Justin Fields under here. There's a reason it is so low. Justin Fields averages less than this per game. He's not a great, I don't know what the Bears are doing in terms of trying to do they know the forward pass exists? I think at one point in this season, Justin Fields had 25 completions and 20 of them were behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Not good for Justin Fields at all. So I'm going Justin Fields under 168 pass yards. But don't worry, Justin Fields fans. I'm going over 41.5 rush yards for him, as he's gone over that number the last 3 games, and he averages about 38.8 rush yards per game. This Washington defense allows 4.2 yards per rush, which is not great. And I think he'll have the opportunity to run. I think he'll get his chances. we'll see what happens. But I think if I gotta rag on Justin Fields at all, like going under 168.5 pass yards, I have to kind of give him a little bit of a bone. And I think he'll lead the Bears in rushing tonight as well. Maybe David Montgomery gives him a little bit of something, but I think Justin Fields will rush for over 41.5 rush yards all day, every day. So that's our breakdown of tonight's game. Not a lot doing for tonight's game, but real quick before we get up on out of here, we'll do a quick best bets breakdown. Last time out on Monday night, we were 3-1. We were all over the Chiefs to cover -7, and boy, did they almost. They were up by 1 with the ball driving, and they ended up punting it away, winning that game by just 1 point, thanks to an interesting 2-point conversion call by Josh McDaniels, but we won't get into that. So last time out, we went 3-1. And this Thursday night, we're going Bears money line. Bears are going to win this game. Power line says it. Our game estimators say it. Give me Bears all day, every day. Wentz over 220.5 pass yards. He averages more than 220 on the season, so I feel so comfortable with that. And I also feel comfortable with Justin Fields under 168.5 pass yards. He only averages 135 pass yards per game. I feel really good about that. I love it when an average, like you can get an average, especially with the overs, but we'll break that down further as we get deeper into the season. And Fields over 41.5 rush yards. He's gone over that total last 3 games. He averages 38.8 rush yards per game. I like my odds on that one. Give me Justin Fields over 41.5 rush yards. So thank you so much for tuning in to DRF Daily. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down a college football Friday slate. 2 games on the docket tomorrow. One of them I'm really interested in. UTSA, sneaky good Conference USA team. They play a terrible FIU team. So tune back in tomorrow. Same time, same place. See you until then.